What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast with Christian Wilkins. What's going on, fellas?
It's good.
Good, y'all.
We
It's
here.
good. Football, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is football. We officially have football every week for the rest of the year. And starting this week on Thursday with the Hall of Fame game. Even got a first rounder, a second rounder playing. We'll see how long they actually play, but we're also fully into training camp. I think just about every team has now practiced at least full pads one time. So now we're seeing a lot of injuries pop up. Obviously some highlights have been flying around, different competitions throughout the league. It's getting to that time. It's an exciting time. Got a big release that kind of happened as well. But let's go ahead and get into it. With all the things, that have been kind of happening with training camp thus far, we obviously saw that Christian Wilkins was released from the Las Vegas Raiders over the past couple of days, and it was kind of a surprise for everybody. There's been some rumors about what exactly happened, but the official reason is because it's seeming like he didn't take his rehab and possibly needing a second surgery very seriously, and they weren't on the same page with the Raiders. How do you guys feel about the Christian Wilkins news and seeing that he's on the open market?
I mean, it's crazy to see because this is not the first time we've, heard of somebody not taking their rehab serious. And you kind of think like, what's going on with that situation as far as the NFL? Like, I feel like your rehab is your rehab. Like, you're getting paid still, and like you would think that most people would attack their rehab as well as they could. So that's kind of disheartening to hear as far as him, because I mean, past few weeks, obviously me and Cass, we were singing his praises. Like, we thought, once he come back, he was gonna, do some things, because we, from the previous stint in, Miami, he was a good player. So we assumed, once he came back healthy, he would be very very good player for Las Vegas Raiders. But I mean, that's a tough situation in general. It baffles me just to hear that, like, as far as when you hear players not taking their rehab serious. Like, man, you getting paid millions, and even though you're not on the field, you're still getting paid. You just got to, work and train. I know it can be hard, especially the type of injuries that certain players get, but it baffles me to hear that, somebody's not taking their training or getting better to get back on the field seriously. But tough situation, but I'm sure he still will get picked up by somebody, obviously pending to whatever physical they will put him through. But we'll see where his next destination is.
And there's been some, I guess, disagreements over, whether he should have surgery or not. That's a big part of who will take on, him, and how much are you paying him? When will he be able to play for you if you do pick him up? Outside of all the extra stuff that's been talked about lately. It's a big blow to that Raiders defense that was already kind of needed to prove themselves. So we'll kind of see how they can make up for that loss. I mean, I know that they ended up playing most of last season without him anyway, but we also see that they weren't good. Like, how much of that was also Max Crosby missing? I don't know. So we'll see kind of how it all shakes up for the Raiders, because it seems like they're going to have a pretty good offense, or above average offense. So I didn't see it coming either, Chris. Like you said, I was surprised about it. Because he's still an all pro. You know what I mean? He's still a Pro Bowler, all pro level player, Pro Bowler, even at 29. So I mean, we'll kind of see where he ends up. But yeah, it was shocking.
Yeah, and it's the whole disagreement between getting surgery and whatnot, I am sure is not something that's uncommon around the league, because obviously nobody wants to. You don't necessarily want to have surgery. Obviously you want to be able to heal properly without it, and then surgery be the last resort. And so maybe that's what he was kind of leaning for, but Having a new staff in as well, guys that didn't pay you, and that's kind of maybe that's their first impression of you. I can understand why maybe hey, that's not the energy we want to start this regime with. Um, I mean, it sounds like it's who knows if he's going to play this season. So that's going to be interesting to see how his market ends up going. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, these conversations have been had for a while. We just weren't privy to them, so the Raiders probably weren't expecting to have him this year anyway. So I mean, I'm sure that they're probably not too distraught about it. But it will be interesting to see. I know some people have floated the Giants, because of the relationship with Dexter Lawrence. I see some people have posted some stuff about the Falcons. We'll see about that. Obviously, depends on how much he's getting paid. And it depends also if he's going to be a starter. If that's what he's looking for, is he looking to, does he feel like I can go be a good rotation player, strong rotation player with, better teams, or so we think at the beginning of the season. We'll see what his market starts to look like and shape out to be. But I mean, definitely an interesting situation. We'll see how everything plays out. I imagine that as we get closer to games, because like once games start playing, they start having these pre-game shows, even preseason and stuff like that. There's more football to talk about. More information starts to happen, especially given the fact that like injuries are now starting to pop up. That might press the situation a little bit more for him. So we'll kind of see how it plays out over the next few weeks. But yeah, definitely interesting. And weird position for him to kind of be in, given a lot of people like y'all thought he's a great player and whatnot, and has been a good player in the past. So interesting situation, but we'll see. But we've mentioned him obviously in conjunction with the top 10s that we've been doing over the past few weeks. So let's go ahead and get into our top 10s of the week. We got receivers. This is always a fun position to talk about. Obviously, receivers are a lot of times the most explosive position. Obviously, offensively, a lot of good number ones, a lot of good rookies. And we referenced the ESPN rankings that they did with the GMs and stuff like that. And that seemingly was one of the more controversial ones. So we'll see how this shakes out for you guys. But let's go ahead and get it kicked off. Chris, what you got?
All right, man. So like you said, it's an interesting position. I feel like a lot of ones I left off could have been on there. Like I say, for instance, like Terry McLaurin, I left him off, but that's more so to do with he ain't in camp right now. I mean, I don't like that for most players when they're not in camp. That tends to be a slow start to the season for them. So it's kind of why I kind of left him off of there. But kicking things off, I got Malik Neighbors. I just feel like for the Giants, they're going to be in a lot of shootouts because other than him and their offense, I mean, their running game was okay. I just feel like at this point, especially with Russ at quarterback, even if something happened with Russ, James gonna throw that motherfucker now. He'll throw some picks, but he'll throw that bitch out there. So I think Malik Neighbors building off that rookie season he had last year. He's gonna be a dominant receiver this year. Fortunately, we got to play him twice, so we'll see how that goes. But I think he's gonna be up there. Next, I got your boy Drake London, Cass. He's a good receiver. He's obviously should be the number one, the best receiver of your offense. In order for your offense to take off, I feel like he's going to have to dominate this year. I know Bijan, we expected
they've been
Bijan,
talking about that.
Bijan, because he corrected us on network the other day. Right. But still, though, I know he's going to do his damage, but obviously that's probably the focal point of most people trying to stop your offense is that. So Drake London, you got to step up, but I think he can. I think he got the talent to do it. So I got him up there. Mike Evans, I feel like he's one of the most underrated receivers out here. He may get 1,000 yards every year, but for whatever reason, he doesn't seem to be in most people's top echelon of receivers. But hey, he's consistent every year, in and out. He's always going to come in and make plays. He's going to dominate, get his yards, put the team on his back essentially. You know, try to get them to where they need to be. So he's got to be up there for me. Next I got Puka Nacua. I know they brought Devontae Adams over. That's only going to help him in my opinion because even though Devontae Adams obviously up there in age, you still got to respect that man. You can't just leave him like just out there just for the hell of it. And so that's going to help Puka, especially he's going to be the main person that's going to be doing all the motion. He's going to, like we already seen, he obviously took over the quote unquote Cooper Cup role, but like it's going to be to a far better extent this year in my opinion. Hopefully Matthew Stafford that back don't kill him too much, but I still think Puka will still be up there. Next, I got Nico Collins. Again, another receiver that's just that's CJ guy right now. He's the best receiver obviously on the team. I don't know about his other receivers. Obviously, we know the issue with Tank Dell and whatnot, and obviously
Christian Kirk.
I'm blanking on his name, but he left and went to the Patriots. Yeah, Diggs. And Christian Kirk, but I still think he's their best receiver on the team. He's going to dominate, and he's been dominating since he's been there. So I think rightfully so, he should be in the top 10. And then I got Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously the best receiver in Detroit. Every time I see him, man, that man get open. I mean, he be doing a lot of they do a lot of motioning too. But he's not a fast speed burner, but he's a good route runner. He's gonna get open. He's gonna make the plays. That's Jared Goff guy. I mean, when in doubt, it seems weird when the offense get a little stagnant. They obviously go straight to him when they get stagnant. It's almost like they're avoiding to throw him the ball. As soon as they throw the ball off and start popping. So I expect a little more this year, even though I know they lost their offensive coordinator. I mean, the connection between them two is still real. So I think that's still gonna be prolific. And then this is the tough decision. So the next four, I feel obviously everybody gonna have them interchangeable, but they the best receivers in the league in my opinion. We talking about CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and AJ Brown. They the best receivers in the league right now. It's just your preference, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm putting AJ Brown number one. I just think he the best out there. But I mean, you can't argue with Justin Jefferson. You can't argue with Jamar Chase. I mean, we done seen these boys ball since college. You know what I'm saying? They got into the NFL. They still doing their damn thing. CeeDee Lamb, obviously divisional opponent, but I can't knock him, man. He plays when he plays against us, he go crazy. When he plays against everybody else, he go crazy. They can call him slot boy if you want to, but he's a dominant force wherever he playing it in the I mean, that's what they call a slot man, but I mean it doesn't matter, especially with George Pickens coming over there. That's gonna relieve some stress on him. So I know he's gonna be dominant this year. And like I said, with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and AJ Brown, like them three, like they in my opinion, they are the top three in the league, and they can dominate any way, shape, or form. It's hard to stop them. You really can't one-on-one them, to be honest with you, unless you
Boogeyman.
Patch shirt 10, because he apparently the boogeyman. So unless you him. But for the most part, like them boys right there, man, they the ones that keep the defense coordinator up at night trying to stop them. So they the top.
All right, I like it. I like the list.
Nah. He was right on the outside, but I couldn't put him
there. All right, I'll go bottom of top actually. So at 10, I got Puka Nacua. Of course, the story with him is injury, staying on the field. When he's healthy, when he's like fully healthy, he is 100% one of the top receivers in the league. Like you said, because I think the addition of Devontae Adams will help him. I think it might be more of a split though than it was with him and Cooper Kupp. But we'll see. Of course, it depends on the health of Matt Stafford throughout the season. But I gotta have Puka on there. Honorable mention. I was trying to put Garrett Wilson on this list. I really was, but I just couldn't. The receivers is hard, man. This was a hard list to put together. So honorable mention to Garrett Wilson. But 9, I got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like you said, focal point of offense. We'll see how much things change with the new coordinator, but at the same time, he's still number one top dog in that receiver room. and he's still the one that they scheme everything open for when they need him. So he'll definitely keep producing. At 8, I got Brian Thomas Jr. Gotta have him on the list. Amazing rookie season. I think it's only going up from here. Of course, the addition of Travis Hunter. You got De'Ami Brown there as well. But he's still top dog. Like, I know everybody's talking about Travis Hunter this, Travis Hunter that. Brian Thomas Jr. is still the best receiver on that team. But I'm expecting a huge year out of him. And maybe that will help, Trevor kind of rise up in his own little rankings. Just honestly feeding him. Then I got Malik Neighbors. So, like you said, Chris, it's he's definitely pretty much all they got in that offense. We'll kind of see how the run game comes along. We'll kind of see how much Russell Wilson, how many games he plays. If Jackson Dart gets in there, but at the same time, you see it as long as he stays healthy, because he had some injuries as well last season and already in this preseason. So if he stays healthy, they're going to force feed him. Brian Daboll is going to force feed him. We saw him do it last season. I don't expect anything different, and he can produce for sure. Above him, I got Nico Collins as well on my list. Top dog in that Houston room. Big, fast, gets open, can run a lot of route tree very well. Definitely a security blanket for CJ. So I think that continues. We'll kind of see. Like, I do like Jaden Higgins. I like Jalen Noel that they also drafted too. And then, of course, they got Christian Kirk in there. So they got a lot in there. But I still think Nico will still end up outproducing and coming out of the top 10 clip. I got Drake London as well on my list. Gotta have him, Chris. Come on. Top dog on the Falcons team. Yes. Coming off of almost 1,300-yard season. Now you get to roll with Penix. They've been talking all season about how he's going to be the focal point of that offense. It's very clear that he is outside of Bijan. I'm expecting a big year from Drake. I think he does show up. Top 4, same thing as you, Chris. Not the same order, but same 4 as you. I got CeeDee Lamb. Yeah.
Of course.
No, Drake London was 1, 2, 4. Drake London was 5. Nah.
Nico was 5. You said Neighbors was 6.
Drake is 5. Drake is 5.
Top 4.
I'll read it again. I'll go through it again.
What was
Puka
it?
at 10.
Read it again.
Amon Ra at 9. BTJ at 8. Neighbors at 7. Nico 6. Drake 5. See, what you mean? That's what I said.
He's trying to stick him in that side.
I might have messed up the numbers when I was talking.
Messed up the numbers.
I might have did that.
But
I ain't having my thoughts. I ain't having talk. But hey, man. Anyway, CD at 4. Of course, like you said, Chris, dog. Line him up wherever, dog. And you already know that he has that relationship with Dak. We're assuming Dak is fully healthy coming back and can be at that close to level that he was, which was in MVP talks. The addition of George Pickens will also help for sure, especially the vertical routes that they'll have him running. So I got CeeDee Lamb at 4. AJ Brown I got at 3. Dog though, Chris. Don't get me wrong, but these other 2 are just. It is preference. The other 2 are just technicians, man. And like Justin Jefferson, I got at 2.
Is it preference?
I got Justin Jefferson at 2, and that puts Jamar at 1. Look, Jamar coming off the Triple Crown. Look, I know people will still have Justin Jefferson above him, and I can't argue it. But I just think the yards at the catch ability of Jamar is just, I like that more personally. Like, that's preference right there. Like, I like how he can just take off on somebody. Justin not really doing that, but he would.
I mean, I feel like respectfully, like
I hear you.
Both on the same team.
I hear you. But I'm not. But it like, does also help.
Like when people, but like seriously, when people had that conversation, like
I 100%. I'm not denying. That his success right now is ultimately you get to play with your college quarterback and it's carrying over. And we don't know who JJ McCarthy is right now. We really don't. But I mean, we'll see. But I think Justin Jefferson is still good enough to get to the top 2. But we'll kind of see how it is. But that's my.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, like, if you talking Justin Jefferson for Jamar, like, we was both on, no disrespect, but like we was both on the same team, and we all knew who the number one was. Like, it wasn't a question. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't.
Man, I seen that nigga Justin Jefferson score 5 touchdowns in a game, nigga. 4 or 5, whatever. When they played in the playoffs, nigga, that nigga scored nuts. I feel. It was just that one game. I was like, this nigga different, bro. What the fuck?
He different.
I'm not. He is definitely different. It's no question. I mean, they top 2, but I mean, we see when there was no question. It's like, all right.
Nah, that's fast.
But nah, solid list. So I also have Puka Nacua on my list. Obviously he's really all of these guys, in my opinion, are number ones on every team. They're the engines for their offenses. Everything kind of, for the most part, runs through them. Obviously, like, I have Amon-Ra on my list as well. Obviously, they have the run game as well. But, and the things really changed for the Lions with Amon-Ra. But same thing with Puka. Like, Puka kind of re-energized what the Rams had, and obviously made them feel comfortable enough to let Cooper Kupp go. Another guy that had a phenomenal season, one of the best seasons we've seen from a receiver ever, that led them to a Super Bowl MVP. Puka was that good to kind of take the reins there. I also had Brian Thomas Jr. Obviously came in rookie season, 3rd in yards, 10 touchdowns, and that's with his quarterback getting hurt. Now, obviously, we'll have to see what Trevor Lawrence does, but I mean, I'm a little nervous because Cash trying to poo-poo Travis Hunter.
It's not.
But at the same time, the reports from Jacksonville are saying he's been he's been the toughest receiver to cover. And I mean, I really think people when talk about Travis Hunter, not saying you, but like, I feel like people was kind of like, when he was in college, they was like, oh, nah, he was just like an okay receiver. Like, he was a dog at corner, but like, he was just a high receiver. Or like vice versa, they'd be like, nah, he was just a really good corner and a really good receiver. And I'm like, I don't think y'all realize that, like, this dude is like that. But so I was a little nervous about putting Brian Thomas Jr., not because he's not like that, but just because of the possibility of that. Also have Malik Neighbors on my list, 1,200 yards while missing 2 games. Obviously, they've been talking about it. Once again, reports out of camp, and I know some people like to say, like, you don't want to listen to what's going on at camp and take it like 100%. But I mean, you typically do see when people are talking up young players that are playing well, they typically have pretty good seasons. When they're talking about, a quarterback and, the quarterback is doing, obviously you could see when they're talking about Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, ball not touching the ground, stuff like that. So, for instance, last year, Jalen Hurts, obviously, he had he wasn't the best quarterback last season, but the reports out of training camp was he wasn't turning the ball over at all.
Right.
Obviously, that wasn't necessarily the case in the season, but he did have a good season.
Immediately threw interceptions.
Immediately threw interceptions in the first game. But
immediately.
But definitely, it sounds like him and Russ have some sort of connection, and obviously, we'll see if Jackson Dart gets in there. They saying that Russ is the starter, but I have to imagine that there's still a quarterback competition when you draft a quarterback first round. Nico Collins on my list as well. He was the best receiver through the first 5 weeks of the season, and it wasn't really close. And then he obviously got hurt, missed 5 games, and still topped 1,000 yards. CJ Stroud, ever since he's gotten there, they've hit it off, and he's been, people are able to see that he's a guy that's 6'3", running a 6'3", running a 4.4, 4.5, dog out there. Like I said, I have Amon-Ra on my list as well. Consistently one of the best receivers in the league. Even in the loss that they had, almost had 150 yards. Just a dog, tough. Similar to Puka, can do it all. Obviously, catch over the middle. Maybe not the fastest guys, but can take you over the top. Great route runners, tough, great blockers. So I had Tyreek Hill on my list. You guys did not have Tyreek Hill on your list, but the most uncoverable receiver in the league. Obviously, they had a lot of injuries at the quarterback position, but
Nah, bro, I don't trust Tua, bro. It had nothing to do with him. I don't trust Tua, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I mean, you would think that I don't think that Quinn Ewers is a great quarterback by any means necessary. But if Tua were to get hurt, I do think that he's a better option than what Tyler Huntley. Not saying Tyler Huntley is bad, but Tyler Huntley came in mid-season, doesn't really know the offense like that. They started to get better towards the end, but then I have AJ Brown, of course. Once again, another guy that's the engine of an offense. Obviously, there with Saquon as well. But, as I mentioned, when they went on the Super Bowl run at the end of it, everything changed with A.J. Brown. We can say whatever we want to say. Everything changed with A.J. Brown that took them from a wild card team that could barely score to two Super Bowls in 2 Super Bowl appearances in 3 years. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb as well. One of the best receivers after the catch, shifty. Chris mentioned people calling him slot boy. I don't see that, but outside, inside,
that's all they be
outside, inside. Just a great player. Obviously, he had some nicks last year, and then the top two, Justin Jefferson. Obviously, don't need to say too much about it. Obviously, been one of the best receivers in the league since he's came in the league. And then Jamar Chase, Triple Crown winner, one of 6 receivers to ever do it. Obviously has the connection with his college quarterback. Just got paid this offseason, posted some freaky ass pictures, so maybe he's not going to be in the top 10 because niggas start acting weird. I'm just joking. But no, Jamar Chase, been a dog since he broke out in college. Damn near lapped most of receivers in just yards after the catch. Lapped most receivers in just his yards versus the second. Obviously, a lot of people were injured last year, but dog. I mean, you can't say too much more. There's not a corner that's been able to check him. Obviously, Pat Surtain, like y'all said, but even in the got to the Super Bowl as a rookie. Gave Jalen Ramsey. Everybody remembers that catch, one of the biggest plays in that Super Bowl.
So different,
and great player. And another guy that you can say, I mean, we all know Joe Burrow was there. He did get hurt his rookie season, but Jamar got there and everything changed. They became a very, very explosive. Obviously, like Joe Burrow progressed as well, but it's not too often that a guy could come in and a guy as good as T. Higgins, that he had a really good rookie season, he immediately is like,
I'll be number 2.
Yeah.
But let's also go back to us saying you can't take some of this stuff serious that they say in camp, because you remember the thing on Jamar, he couldn't catch in preseason. He couldn't catch shit. He was dropping everything. Came out, just started dominating. So I mean,
with him, that was a little bit of interesting because people did overreact, but obviously he came off of a season where he didn't play.
Facts.
The season
he didn't play
before,
a whole year. Yep.
So that getting a little bit acclimated while you're getting acclimated to the speed of the NFL game, and then he went through preseason like that, and then his first game,
boom,
he gets like a 60-70 yard touchdown, and then the conversations stop right after that. So them LSU boys, I mean, that's 4 LSU receivers. I think, crazy. They got some dogs this year, so we'll see if they have somebody come out again. But, like you said, it's always an interesting list just because the receivers, I mean, there's so many good receivers, so many number ones possible. T. Higgins, people say, number 2, but could probably go to a lot of teams, maybe like the Patriots. Obviously, we'll see what Stephon Diggs does, but, could go to a team like the Patriots and be the top guy and probably put up 1,200, 1,300 yards. So, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what Zay Flowers does, a young guy, Tet, young guy,
Worthy.
Terry McLaurin, if he gets paid, DK, nobody mentioned Brandon Ayuk, who was all over people's list last year.
Or even, I don't know if it got something to do with suspension. But
Lad McConkey, Chris Olave.
Rice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, I mean, he could vary. I mean, he was...
Marvin Harrison Jr.
There's a lot of great receivers in the league, and it's going to be fun. Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr., and I really thought about putting him on the list. My only thing is I'm still a little nervous at Rome Odunze as well, but I'm still a little nervous about, him bulking up, because part of his problem was separation as well. Does that help him with his separation? Does that help him, stuff like that? And then, still with Kyler.
Yeah.
You got to work on that throwing over the middle. Yeah. That's take advantage of Marvin Harrison on some in-breakers and stuff like that. So, I mean, that was my only hesitation, but he was right up there. So, DK with Aaron Rodgers.
Could be that. Jackson Smith and
Jigba. It's a lot of really good receivers.
AK. Courtland
Sutton, a dog, man.
All right, y'all. That gives a wrap. What did Tony else say? All right, y'all. I get Kobe's 81. But yeah, man, that does give us a wrap for this another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast. We'll obviously get into what we saw in the Hall of Fame game, and then obviously we will have everybody playing in preseason starting next week. So we will catch y'all then.